Explore, expand, exploit, exterminate. This is the initiative, where we analyze how new games will do on the market. Here we have StarDrive, a 4X strategy game played in real time created by Zero Sum Games. There were many attempts at replicating the depth and gameplay of older games like Master of Orion II, but many of them fell short or ended up having different goals altogether. Let's see how this will turn out. Before starting the game, you're greeted with a familiar setup screen. Pick your race, modify your attributes, your name, color, etc. There's 8 races in total. They have their defaults, but they're mainly for looks. The race descriptions are not actually pre-made, they're based on their attributes, like for example, you choose to be industrious, the description changes to say your race has a strong work ethic. Doesn't affect the gameplay, but it's something that caught my attention. Good for people who like reading this stuff. The advanced rule options are very non-existent. It turns out the options are at the top right corner of the screen. I figured this out when I was setting up my third game. I wanted to change this on my first time playing, so thanks for obscuring it. Now for the game itself. It's played in real time. Explore the galaxy, colonize some new planets, build massive warships, and just dominate everyone. Managing the planets and the logistics are fairly straightforward. You have sliders for managing food, production, and research. You have a build queue, and you have storage for excess food and production. You use freighters to transfer stuff between planets, and you could set the AI to manage everything. If you need more freighters, I just set the AI to make them. If you want to colonize a planet, you just set that planet to colonize, and a colony ship is automatically built and sent there. Exploring the place is also easy. Set a scouting ship to explore, and you forget it. So a lot of the more common tasks can be automated, and I really like that because there's so many things you need to pay attention to. The automation does help to keep the game fun. You can pause the game if you feel you're missing out on a lot of stuff, and I actually do this a lot. I set the game speed to 3x, and I pause when I need to plan ahead. Diplomacy isn't as deep as I would have liked, but the essentials are here. You can trade worlds, research, form treaties and alliances, declare war, stuff like that. I like how every race has their own personality, but it's just for looks. Sometimes the diplomacy screen pops up out of nowhere and I accidentally accept or decline something. Should be a warning at least. Designing ships is so awesome! You can customize everything like its weapons, engines, armor, and other capabilities you see fit. It's extremely satisfying to create a fleet of ships that crush everything, and creating a poorly made ship will still yield some educational value. For the freighters and colony ships, you don't actually need to design one. The stock designs are good enough, but I've replaced the stock engines with a medium warp engine. That's all you really need, I think. And the space combat! Oh my god, this is awesome. The ships you designed yourself are blowing stuff up left and right. Zoom in, it looks really good. Zoom out a little, you see colored icons so you know what's going on. And you still have full control over your ships so you can reinforce or retreat when the situation changes. This is where my StarCraft background comes into play. Colonies aren't making anything, so let's queue a bunch of ships. Losing money every turn? Let's keep building some marines and send our ships to attack something. Raise the tax rate, once we lose some ships in combat, lower it back down, and then macro up some more ships. I've actually been microing my damaged ships out of combat to save them. Doesn't help when the engines are destroyed, but I've saved many ships this way, so there is some of that fast-paced feel to the game. But the game still has some problems, most notably its UI. It's missing a lot of UI and automation features, very simple ones that are used later on, like stopping bombardments once a planet is wiped out. Your ships have a limited amount of ordnance, so I don't want them wasting their shots on a dead planet. Scrapping ships is also a hassle. If I want to refit all of my ships with a new design, I can do that easily. Scrapping them altogether is another story. You have to do this individually. Why is that? They had the foresight to do this with everything except the scrapping of ships, so who knows? Carriers annoy me the most. Fighters do not automatically launch if you're too far away during combat, and this destroys the whole point of them. You can manually launch them, but again with the UI problems, you can't do this when multiple ships are selected. You have to select and order each one individually to launch. StarDrive suffers from UI problems. Some things have proper UI and automation features, other things don't. But otherwise, it's a fully functional, playable game. There are no underlying problems with the core gameplay, so the problems the game does have should be easy to fix. The question is, will they fix it? And how will this reflect in the market? Based on statements made by the game developer, they really care about their product, so the first few weeks out the door will be all about fixing problems. Most, if not all of the problems with the game will be addressed by this time. I've also seen some discussion on adding some more content to make the game even deeper. The official forums are very active, and it's really nice to see the developers engaging with the community. In the long term, we'll see multiplayer support. The developer wanted to work on the core features of the game before implementing multiplayer, and they're doing that. After polishing up the UI and the automation, multiplayer will become a top priority for them. But I don't see multiplayer doing so well. Usually, a 4X game is built from the ground up for multiplayer, with the single-player component being a multiplayer game with computer-controlled bots. Even though the intention for multiplayer was there, StarDrive was built from the ground up for single-player, and this is evident with the liberal use of the speed controls and the ability to pause the game at will. This cannot translate well to a multiplayer game. You can't pause when you're designing a ship, or managing colonies, or diplomacy. This can take your eyes off the main screen for several minutes at a time, so I believe the eventual multiplayer portion will just have a tacked-on feel to it, and it won't be any good. I would love to be proven wrong on this. I like multiplayer, but I want the multiplayer to be awesome. I guess we'll see how they handle this. At its core, StarDrive is a very deep and engaging experience, but it still needs work. The community support is there, the developer support is there, and they've made it clear to everyone that they intend to make this game great. A lot of effort is being put into this game, and this alone will make it stand out in the market. Things will only improve from here, and at a $30 price point, it's a fair deal as well. I believe many of the problems will be fixed in the coming months. We'll check back to see if this will be the case. Thanks for watching.